I miss Toys R Us.
What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here. Yes, I'm going to be wearing this costume for the rest of the video. This is the costume that I wore last year for Halloween. Plus, it is so warm, it's like you're wearing a blanket. But that is not why you are watching this video. You are watching this video for me to bring you my review for Roofman in one take. Now, based on a true story, the plot of this crime comedy follows spree robber Jeffrey Manchester, who robbed 45 McDonald's restaurants, escaped from prison, and lived in a Toys R Us store for 6 months. Going into this movie, I was really looking forward to it because I actually heard about this real life crime story last year in a video made by YouTuber Ray William Johnson. I have been a fan of his for over a decade and a half by now, and not long after that video got released, it was announced that a feature film was going to be made about the Roofman robber, and I saw that it had a good cast, and the co-writer and director of this film had me curious as well. Derek Cianfrance is the co-writer and director of this movie, and previously he has made films that are more on the dramatic side, like Blue Valentine from 2010 and The Place Beyond the Pines a few years after that, both of them starring Ryan Gosling, and I think are fantastic movies, in particular The Place Beyond the Pines. That is a masterpiece, and I think it is still underrated. More recently, he was one of the writers of Sound of Metal, which he received a nomination for Best Original Screenplay with that film's director Darius Marder and his brother Abraham. So again, this is a bit of a different step in terms of what he is doing as a filmmaker here, as it is more on the lighter side and it is also based on a true story. But starting out with the cast and their performances, we have Channing Tatum as Jeffrey Manchester. Now, he plays this guy as somebody who is a former Army Reserve officer who has fallen on hard times, both personally and in connection with his family that he is estranged from. He loves his daughter and is trying to do right by her, but he ends up resorting to being a robber, entering places of establishments through their roofs, and that's what he knows how to do. He is a smart guy, also a nice guy when he is dealing with people when he is robbing them. Despite him doing wrong, he is still trying to do right. But in any sense, the way that Tatum plays this character is terrific. I would even say that this is the best film performance that I've seen from him thus far. Earlier on in his career, he was not known as the best of actors, but he has grown significantly and really uses the skills that he had, I think, as a comedic performer in particular here, and mixing it with a bit of drama too, because you really get to feel for this character, even though he has done so much wrong in the past, and also him trying to, not get caught by the authorities while he is also pursuing other relationships, in particular with a character named Lee, played by Kirsten Dunst. She is the love interest of the film here, who is one of the employees at the Toys R Us that Jeff is hiding out in, and I thought she was great as well. The chemistry between herself and Tatum here, I think, is electric, and what her character has is also similar in that she is another divorced parent, mother as well, and that is how both of these characters connect. And just seeing her give another performance like this, I think it is great too. She's very likable, and we have a lot of other players in this movie too. Lakeith Stanfield plays an army buddy of Jeff's who also knows a thing or two about helping him start a new life, as that becomes more prevalent later on in the movie. Juno Temple plays his girlfriend. Peter Dinklage plays the manager of the Toys R Us store that Jeff is hiding in. And then there's also Ben Mendelsohn and Uzo Aduba as a pastor and his wife, respectively. This is a really good cast here, and I think everyone does an outstanding job, but in particular Channing Tatum, as I said, who is terrific and probably gives the best film performance of his career thus far. Now, getting into the writing of this film. Again, this film is co-written by Derek Cianfrance. He wrote the script here with Kurt Gunn, and what they do here is, regardless of how accurate this movie is to real life, I'm sure that there's a lot of inaccuracies in here, but a lot of the characters involved are real. But I think what is done here in establishing Jeff as a character, he is somebody who is a career criminal, and then he ends up going to prison for all of the McDonald's restaurants that he robbed, and then he escapes, and he hides out in this Toys R Us store. This is taking place between the late 1990s and the early 2000s. So immediately the world building here, at least getting us into this time in place, is really effective, as in the background we get to see places like a Blockbuster Video and certain things that are specific to the time period here. I mean, I grew up in that era as a young child, so that gave me a bit of nostalgia for seeing all of that. Also with my intro and showing off my rewards card for Toys R Us. The Toys R Us by my house closed in 2018 when all those stores went out of business. So yeah, it really feels like a time capsule when watching what was playing out in Roofman. And then we see how Tatum is trying to use his character, I should say, Tatum's character, Jeff, is trying to use how resourceful he is while hiding out in this Toys R Us and also continuing to do wrong, even though he's trying to do right by himself and the loved ones that he has, despite all that has happened prior and just trying to go forward. All of that here. It makes for a movie that surprisingly is sad at times, because you really are feeling for this guy, even though he is not the best of people. It is also a sweet movie throughout too, especially the scenes between Tatum and Dunst together and how he is also relating with Dunst's character's daughters, and then also trying to be somebody who is also not trying to bring too much attention to himself to just go ahead and get by, and all of that. On that front, the directing by Derek Cianfrance, I think, is very, very top tier, and for a movie like this that is a bit out of his wheelhouse, he still shows a lot of dramatic edge in this film, especially by the end. Once we get towards the conclusion of this 2-hour running time, I felt it a bit, I guess, towards the end, but that's a minor nitpick, I should say, in terms of how this movie flowed, because I was never bored for a second. And then again, how this movie looks in getting us into the time period, the way it is paced out, the way it is cut together in the editing. It is a very easygoing and pleasant movie to watch for a lot of it, because we are just curious to see like how Jeff is able to avoid the police, you know, continuing to hide out in this Toys R Us, and then also basically starting a new life before he is trying to start a new life and get out of the country or do whatever, because he is a wanted criminal having escaped from prison. All of that coming together. There is a lot that goes together in this movie, and I think, for the lack of a better term, I think that this movie really does its job well in terms of what it is trying to do. Being based on a true story, that is the main hook and appeal of this film. The actors here, like I said, with the lead performances, I think being terrific, and just seeing how it all comes together. This movie premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival earlier this year, and, you know, it got good buzz from it, and that further made me interested to go ahead and see it. And this is something that I think just about anyone could watch and really enjoy and feel something by the end as well, no matter what concludes for Jeff and the rest of the characters. In terms of issues, I mean, there really isn't many. I said that, yeah, I was feeling that it was getting a little long by its end, but, you know, the movie never dragged in any major moments. And there are some things that I noticed that, maybe that should have gotten Jeff caught earlier. At one point, he has his picture taken. That's all I will say, but that is glossed over pretty quickly because, you know, he's trying to hide out in that Toys R Us store and also still interacting with people on the outside of that space. But in any sense, you know, that is to say that this movie still had me mostly engaged and really enjoying what I was seeing. It's a funny movie at times. It's not ha-ha funny for the majority of it because, like I said, the movie does have a dramatic edge. edge thanks to the directing by Derek Cianfrance. And with all of that coming together, you know, there are some worthy laughs in here that me and my audience had, and also seeing what was going to happen in the way the narrative played out. And yeah, I just think that this is a solid movie. This is a strong crime comedy that I think is something that is going to be a crowd pleaser. And I think for everyone involved here, yeah, it's something that I think they should be proud of in their filmography. And it is something that I would definitely recommend seeing. With all of that being said, my final verdict for Roofman is 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Roofman. Social media links in the description. Subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.